Hi friends, this is part 3 of user registration in Anglo 6 application. In this video, we'll learn how to implement reset function and validation to this user registration form. Let's start. In sign up component, I'm going to create a reset form function. Here we have single parameter form which is of type ng form. Okay, here you can see it added a required import statement for ng form and here we call this reset function form.reset. Okay, then we want to reset the properties inside this user object. For that I made this dot user equal username, password, email, first name and then last name will be empty string. We want to call this function in ng on init lifecycle hook. For that this dot reset form. Okay, here we don't have value for this parameter form, so I'm going to make this form parameter as nullable. Here I want to add if statement if form not equal null, then only this part will execute. Okay, now I want to add form validations inside this form. For that I'm going to make this username and password as a mandatory field for this application. For that add required attribute to this username and password. Also need to add class here, validate. Okay, let's check. If I enter some text in username text box, then clear the text box. Now we can see the validation error indicates with a red border. Password also same thing. Okay, these styles are added in styles.css file. Here input controls with two classes ng invalid and ng dirty. These two styles will apply for validation errors. Okay, by default when a form loads, if that control is valid means then it will have a class ng valid. If that control is not valid, then it will have ng invalid class. Apart from that, it will have ng pristine class. If we change something in this text box, this text box ng pristine class will replaced by this ng dirty. Okay. If there is a text box with these two classes ng invalid and ng dirty, will show you the validation error. Okay, we have to display the validation error message here. For that in signup component.html file in label we can add data error attribute. Inside that we have to specify the error message required field. Okay, save this and let's check. Enter some text and clear the text. I think class validate is not working. It may be a version issue. It's related to the version of materialized CSS that we referred in the index.html file. Here we are using 1.0.0-beta. Make sure our link to be this one 0.100.2, not one of the newer pre-alpha versions. Okay, there is a list of links you can find at this link materialcdnjs.com. Here libraries / materialize. Here you will see the list of libraries. Okay, then make sure you only reference libraries older than 1.0.0 alpha and then form validation should work. Okay, save this index.html file. Okay, enter and clear the text box. Here again enter. Here we have the validation error message required field. Like that we have to add error validation message for password text box. Already we added required attribute for password text box. Now we want to add one more validation, min length. Okay, here min length, well, 3. Then validation error message will be, here we will use attribute.data error, password.errors not equal to null means it will show the required field, then minimum 3 characters needed. Here we specified minimum length is 3. Okay, let's check this. Enter some text data. Okay, no required field. Okay, one, it shows the error message minimum 3 characters needed. If I enter 3, then 4, now validation is succeeded. Here you can see it's displaying the password in sequence of dots. For that I added this here, input type password. Okay, if you change this to type text, the password will be shown as text. Okay, we don't need this, we want to display as dots. Okay, for that change this to password. Finally, now we want to add validation for this email text box. That means text inside this text box should be valid email format. For that, I'm going to add define a variable here, email pattern. Inside that, we have given regular expression for valid email. In HTML, here we have to add pattern attribute. This email pattern variable should match with this email pattern. Okay, let me add error message for this email, data error. Your message will be invalid email. Okay, let's check this. Okay, enter some text. It shows a valid error message. Okay, if I complete with valid email validation, it succeeded. Okay, now I want to make this submit button as disabled when this form is not valid. For that, add disabled attribute to this submit button here. Here, local reference of this form is user registration form. Okay, let's save. Here, initially, this submit button is disabled. If I enter something text here, now it's enabled. In this form, email is not a valid, um, sorry, it's not a mandatory field, but it should be a valid email format. Finally, we have completed Angular 6 user registration form. Okay, here we have to note one thing. When we want to validate form control in Angular application, yeah, styles.css, normally we will do like this. We will check with these two classes, but in case of this front-end framework, materialize CSS, if we add this validate class in HTML here, it will automatically manage its validation. So no need to use this in styles. Okay, when you are using some other front-end framework like Bootstrap, you may need to use this. Okay, now we don't need this. Okay, let me comment. Okay, save this. Okay guys, here we have completed Angular 6 user registration form design. Okay, in our next video we will discuss how to create web API project for this user registration application. Okay, thank you for watching this one.